operational geekiness, as we were already talking a little bit about it, that it makes my geeky heart go pitter patter. We talk about processes and improvement, but really overall, I like to think of it as the chief outcomes officer. Our job is to keep each team member to produce outcomes, each team to produce outcomes, and the business to produce the outcomes that we really desire. You have an idea, you want to make it happen. We come in and orchestrate converting operations into outcomes. So that's overall what we do. The nice thing for me is that I love being able to do it in many small businesses at the same time. It's no fun for me to just be in one business. I really want to make an impact everywhere, just as you guys do. And with that, let me go ahead and dive in. You'll get a feel too for the way I think as we go into these pieces a little bit more all together. But I want to invite you. I want to have you think about something with me as we get this kicked off. You got into this business because you love helping people find their homes. You're the kind of person who probably remembers kids' names or who sends that handwritten note, who checks in 6 months later just because you care. That's who you are. And yet, somewhere between the 47 text messages that showing that ran late and that contract deal that you needed your attention at 10 p.m. at night, something has slipped. It's not because you didn't care. It's because there's only one of you and you're trying to do it all. Or you maybe have a very small team. And that referral that you could have got and should have got, it went somewhere else. And so I see you. I see you at the 6 a.m. email checks. I see you at the 11 p.m. contract reviews. I see you skipping lunch because a buyer needs that answer right now. I see the exhaustion behind the smiles. And you put that out there for every open house. You bring your best. And so I know you're not lazy. I also know you're not broken. You're just trapped. You're trapped in a business model that demands that you are everywhere, that you know everything, and that you never ever are allowed to drop a ball. And yet, here's the truth that no one really wants to say out loud is that the harder you work in this trap, the deeper you dig yourself in. Is because you're buried in the weeds. Your past clients sometimes forget who you are because it's so hard to get back to them, and the referral pipeline starts to dry up a little bit. So then the income has you fighting even harder to protect it. It's the leaks that happen at the back door while you're guarding the front, looking at who's in front of you. That's the part that can be really frustrating. And I know it feels so intimidating to think about focusing on the back end. And I know you may have read a business book of like how to fix it. But for me, it was absolutely personal when I started very, very young, seeing how businesses work. And I watched my family's business get destroyed. When I was a teenager, my grandparents owned a hardware store, a local little store in our town, and my whole family worked there. They were good people, had loyal customers. Yet, when Home Depot came into town, and I do remember this vividly, the exhaustion on my dad's face when he had to go get two jobs to make up for losing his job when our family hardware store had closed. And that image hasn't left me. It's still what drives me today is that the good people, those who are working hard and doing everything right, they can still lose. And it wasn't because my family wasn't talented. It's not because they didn't care. It's because the business wasn't built to survive without my grandpa holding it all together with his bare hands and what felt like duct tape, because it's a hardware store, they have that. Or electric tape, maybe is another one too. But that's what I see when I look at overwhelmed real estate agents and professionals who are out there being good people, working themselves to the ground while the business slowly slips away. And it doesn't have to be this way. So here's what I want you to know, that after 15 years doing operations and as a fractional COO, working inside businesses like yours, I've identified 5 operational business bottlenecks that really keep people stuck. We're going to talk about those, especially as it relates to real estate agents. We're going to talk about these specific 5 friction points and we can turn that hard work of being on the hamster wheel into actually being able to be more effective. So here's the good news though with this. None of them require you to work harder. None of them require you to hire a full team, and none require some massive overhaul that takes 6 months to implement. I'm going to walk you through each of these bottlenecks and you'll see exactly how it shows up in your day to day, and you'll understand why it's costing you more than you realize. But we'll also have you leave with one simple action, just one, not too overwhelming, for each bottleneck that you can take this week and start breaking free from some of these traps. I want to help you get that path out of that trap. So, first, let's look at what's actually holding you back. When we look at the core problem, it's oftentimes that we are feeling extremely busy, but busy doesn't equal productive. So you may have full calendars, long days, inconsistent progress. That's what it can feel like. But I acknowledge how hard you work. You work very hard. You work when often people are in bed or taking time off on the weekends. You are very, I'm sure, frustrated because you're like, I'm so motivated. I'm so excited. I care so much. So it isn't a motivation issue either. So what if it's not hard work and it's not motivation? Then what is it? It is structural. Something structural is off. So it's not personal, which is the good news. It's structural, and that's what we're going to be looking at. So when we think about bottlenecks, it goes in good, doesn't come out great, right? So what's really happening? Again, it's not you. It is these structural bottlenecks. Because what happens is when your business grows, friction starts to appear. When you have more clients, there's more friction. If you start to add team members, even just a little virtual assistant, or maybe someone to help me out with this graphic or make this sign, more team members also cause more friction. Every growing business hits constraints at different levels. If the bottlenecks, though, aren't addressed when you hit those constraints, you can increase your effort, but your results don't increase. This applies to solo agents as well as those with teams. These are part of just doing business if you don't know how to address these things. Okay, so let's get into what are those 5 bottlenecks. We're going to cover them. I will also say go ahead and take notes so you can get some of these pieces, but at the end, I'm going to share with you a guide so you don't have to worry about getting all the notes. I'll give you some tips from these things. But the bottlenecks that we're going to cover today are first, overwhelm, then lack of direction, broken systems, weak accountability, and reputation pressure. And these don't always look like problems, but they are quietly draining your time, your energy, and your momentum. So my promise to you, as I already had shared a little bit, but I'm going to give you one simple action for each of these so you could start to move forward and release some of that pressure. You ready? Sound good? Okay. Let's go into first. That bottleneck number one I said is overwhelm. It's where you always feel busy, but you never caught up. It's oftentimes you are living in reaction mode because you're constantly making decisions, you constantly have interruptions, and everything feels urgent. Any human that's in those kinds of situations where it's all these things coming at you all the time is going to lead to overwhelm. Overwhelm comes from that decision overwhelm, not laziness. It's not that you're not working, as we've said. So if you can relate to this and you feel like, yes, maybe at some points I've had this bottleneck, in the chat, go ahead, write number one and yes, so we can see. I'm sure you're not alone. I know for me, I've certainly got caught in that feeling of overwhelm. And you're welcome to, I'm going to pull up my chat. Yes, it happens, right? It does happen. And that's why I'm grateful for you guys to be able to share and be bold with sharing. So thank you for putting it in chat because, in fact, a lot of us have these situations happen. Maybe not every day, but it does happen. Okay, so what's the solution? We really want to have you as I said, give you one action to help you reduce some of that overwhelm. So what I'm going to invite you to do is create a weekly CEO hour, your time to be that CEO, not to be the one who's doing the showings or not the one that's doing the sales, but really a CEO hour, a focused block on your calendar. Best way to do this is same day, same time every week, where you have no clients, no admin, no team interruptions. But the purpose of this focus block is identify one friction point.
What's your saying about that pattern fitting fine and all that stuff? Or
Okay, there we go. So we want to figure out what needs to be fixed. But if you are so busy juggling, you don't have time to be proactive and look at what's broken and what needs to fix. So in this time, you're not trying to fix everything. We just want to create the space to think. So you're not even necessarily fixing. You just want to be able to have some breathing room to step back and say, what's one friction point that needs to be fixed? I'm curious, has anyone done something like this? Take a little bit of thinking time. I see Heather shaking her head. I see Kat shaking her head the other direction. um,
No thinking
any,
time.
what was that, Kat?
No thinking time, just doing.
Yeah, it's normal. It's very normal. And it's hard. I will say it's hard to put it in place. When you actually do it, though, it's amazing what will happen. I know for me, it was very hard to put this in place, but I started with 30 minutes on a Friday, or you can choose a day that's a little bit less crazy and call it my own. And it didn't happen in my schedule right away. I had to block it a couple weeks out because I had things so back to back in my schedule that it was like, ooh, when am I going to fit this in? But once I started to be able to see that this is block time, I was able to stop being in that frantic doing mode and being able to actually step back and ask this question of where is that friction point? What's something that's just not working right now? And when you do this, I invite you to look at what can you stop doing. So when you start to say what needs to be fixed, look at what you shouldn't be doing as part of that fix. So it's not about like what more can I do as the answer. First, start to see, is there something I could stop or shouldn't be doing that should maybe be done by somebody else, or maybe it's deleted forever or reduce the effort. Maybe you're putting in a ton of effort in something that's not making a big difference. So again, we're trying to use this block time to give you back time by eliminating some of the things that don't need to be. But when you are stuck in that doing mode, it's really hard to see. I don't even know what to stop. I just know I got to keep rolling on that hamster wheel to keep it going. Any questions on that one? All right, let's go to bottleneck number 2. This bottleneck is lack of direction. Without a clear target, it's really hard to know where you want to go. I always like to compare to a GPS. I'm in San Diego. If I wanted to go to LA, it's relatively easy to understand I need to go north, but there are so many paths to get there. The best way, as many of you probably would do the same, is to put it into some GPS system. But it needs to know not only where you are, it needs to know the address of where you're going in order to get there. And the where you're going is really important to know you're on the right path. If I didn't put in an exact address, I could end up in the ocean or the desert, not in LA. Many times with agents, you don't have a defined business model. Sure, you do real estate, but there are many ways to do real estate. You have the option of niches. You could do, I want to have a big team or an office, or I want to be solo. I want to have a lifestyle business that really supports my lifestyle so I can still have freedom and flexibility with my family or my hobbies. Or I'm a business builder. I really want to build a big business. There's different, many ways to do this. So focus on your why. Why am I doing this business? What is the reason for me wanting to do this? And then build your business that actually causes your why to happen. if you have marketing that feels a bit random or growth becomes inconsistent or your efforts are scattered, that's probably a good sign that your direction is unclear because you're just kind of doing I always like to say random acts of marketing. You're not really focused. Your growth may not be focused because you're not sure, like, who am I working with? What am I going for? Or your efforts are all over the place. Direction is what can help give you that clarity of where to go and where not to go. It goes back to number one. You can know what you should not be doing and what you could stop doing altogether if you have the direction. So again, if you can relate to feeling a little lost and all over the place at times, go ahead and put in chat. You can put number two and yes. But if again they're like, yeah, I can say I've been there, I've done that. It certainly helps us again to see that we're not alone. I know I've been there. All right, so what's the solution? What's our one action to create direction? I'm going to invite you to define one 90-day goal, that target, just one, not five, not 10, not even two. Let's just have one. And I would encourage you not to be the number of revenue and listings and systems, but what outcome would matter most. So again, thinking about that result side of it, not just numbers. I want to hit this revenue number. I want to have this many listings. Think about what outcome would matter most, and that becomes your decision filter for the next 90 days. Maybe it is, Kat, that you're like, I want to feel less frantic in the doing mode. So my outcome might be that I have a little space for that breathing, thinking time and feel a little bit more strategic. I'm just picking on you because you were nice enough to say that you're stuck in the doing mode.
You can pick on me, that's fine.
But I've been there, right? I love to get doing. It feels very productive. It feels productive to be busy, even if it's stressful. But if you can focus on what do I want in the next 90 days as my result, that helps you decide, okay, what do I do to get closer to that result? Does anyone have already a 90-day goal? We're in about halfway through now, quarter one. Does anyone have a goal for this quarter that they'd want to share? You can come off mute. Something you're working towards?
Can it be something personal?
Sure, absolutely.
Because I just need to take better care of myself. So I'm gonna just, I want to read more. And when I say that, like read 2 hours a week. And I want to walk more. I want to get my body moving. And we have this gym in the first floor of our building, and I mean, we can use it for free. And I'm like, I have no excuses. Even when it's cold and below zero here in Minnesota, I can go down on the treadmill and walk for an hour and feel so much better. So I need to feel better about myself and have that Kim time.
Yeah, I love that. And Kim, thank you so much for sharing because life and business are sandwiched together, whether we like it or not. There isn't a work-life balance. There's a work life. Work life is all together. They impact each other, in other words. So Kim, when you look at having that self-care, having that time for me to be able to feel better, so now that can be your decision filter as you look at how do I build the business and do the business focus and areas and tasks that help me get towards that goal. So it may look different if you're looking at, I need to make sure I've got 30 minutes a day or hour a day to be able to take that self-care time. Then if you didn't put that in the forefront of your decision making, that what I have found when people put their personal goals at the forefront of the outcomes they want and build the business around it, what's really fun is the business gets better. Because oftentimes what we've done is we've taken the pressure off ourselves and rely on systems or other team, or again, start to look at, geez, I don't need to do that. That's just a waste of time. So our business can actually be better by taking care of ourselves. Now, that doesn't mean you can't have a 90-day outcome for your business that you want. And realize that it will ideally then when your business gets better and you're really focused on having it be more effective and more efficient, your life can get better. So they work both ways.
Yeah, when I take more time for myself and I feel better about myself, I can be that much more focused on my business.
Yeah.
That's what I find. And when I don't take good care of myself, I'm not as good as focusing on my business and what's important and staying like honed in and not get all like, oh, I got to do all these things, right?
Yeah.
And that can happen a lot.
Yeah. What's one of those things that a doctor or someone, who's in the medical field would say when you're stressed? What's one of the biggest things they say? Breathe. Right? Take a breath. And so this is what we're saying is being able to, where can we take a breath in our day? Whether it's a physical breath or just a shift and be like, I need some breathing room. I've heard that before, right? It's not just breath, breathing room. And so if you have this idea of this is where I'm focused, where do I need breathing room to focus on that? You're going to get rid of the things that actually don't produce as much as other things. You're going to get really focused as if you have a big vacation coming on this Friday is your last day before 2 weeks off. What do? We get really focused on getting rid of the stuff we don't need to do and just focus on what we need to. So we take a breath, get focused, and be able to produce. And that's what we're talking about here is having that focus. Let's move on to the third bottleneck. This is broken or missing systems. So everything that lives in your head or your team members' head is a big problem, right? That means you are either missing systems or they may be broken. So what this looks like for you could be that things fall through the cracks in terms of your follow-ups. It might be other things fall through the cracks, asking for those referrals. It also can look like you, or if you do have a team member, they're reinventing the wheel every transaction. Feels like, man, shouldn't we have like got a way that we do this consistently every time? Anything that you feel like you're reinventing, that's a sign of a broken or a missing system. Another one is looking at your CRM. If your CRM feels more stressful than helpful, that's a sign there's something broken in your system. Because a lot of times we get a place to collect all of our contact information. We put some things in there. Maybe at one point you said this is an A contact, a B contact, a C contact. And then somewhere along the way, you're just like, I'm throwing it in there, or I forgot to throw them in there, but they're in my email or they're in my phone. So if it's not as helpful, you can't find what you want, you stop using a system that you maybe even put in place. And that's a sign of a broken system. If your business only works when you remember things, then it's fragile and not scalable. Can't rely on things that you just remember. I know for me, the more busy I get, the less breathing room, the less I remember. So that's also scary as well, is that I've just got too much floating around in my head. And then I'm going to definitely have more things fall through the cracks. So again, if you can relate, put number 3. And yes, if this has ever felt like something that you've dealt with, then please feel free to join the, yes, my name is Jen, and I have some broken and missing systems. It's safe to admit it in this room. Okay, what's the solution? And what's our one action to start to build systems? Is that I'm going to invite you to document one repeatable process. Like we said, if there's some part of the transactions that are feeling like you're reinventing the wheel, this is a great place to have a more concrete wheel. You can and choose one process, only one. I include looking at what is the thing that keeps breaking or slowing you down, and what could we do to make it so that we consistently do what I want us to do every single time. When it comes to documenting a process, I want you to see if you could keep it that bullet point level, just the clear steps, almost like a checklist, right? Oh, we do this, and then we do this, and then we do this. It doesn't have to spell out to begin with. It doesn't have to spell out every single thing, but at least get in the order that you would like things done and what are those things. So maybe not all the how, but what are the pieces of the steps we like to go through for this part of a process. What our goal here is to reduce the mental load. It's not about being perfect. It's about not having to remember and think and wonder, did I miss something? Your gut's probably going to tell you, is there something missing and I cannot remember what, which actually slows you down. So being able to just quickly go through your checklist, be like, boom, 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 we got it, or someone else can, you feel comfortable they've got it. This is how that scaling starts, that ability to take on more work because you feel like we can handle it. We can get through our processes with consistency, predictability, and comfort, knowing it's going to happen. The process can be followed for consistency by you or a team member is a sign that you have a clear, repeatable process. It is enough that someone besides you can do it if it's your process. This is how I've actually started to be able to feel more comfortable delegating too, is is being able to watch what I do and have someone else do it. So as a bonus, are you familiar with Loom? Not Zoom, but Loom as a way to record videos. I love it for sending a message to a potential prospect or a follow-up message or that type of thing. What I recently learned, I paid for I think it was an extra $5 a month or something, the more upgraded version of Loom, and something magical happened in it. I told you already, I'm an operations geek, so this is going to be very much me leaning into my geekiness. But I was recording a process that I wanted to delegate over to my administrative assistant. This is how I prep for, as Heather said, I do presentations, three, at least three a month. And I was like, whew, it's taken me a long time to figure out the topics and all these things. So I just put on my Loom and I spoke out loud, but they can also see my screen. Here's what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing next. Here's what I'm doing next. And what I found with that little bit of, even that is super helpful because it's got a transcript, but with that little bit of an upgrade to the AI version of Loom, there's this beautiful button that says, create an SOP out of this video. I push the button and I'll give it maybe 20 seconds. It had an entire way that I could copy into a document. And not only did it have the steps written out, because I had just it had screenshots from the video I had done and little timestamps so that they can go back and click if they just wanted to see, how did I do this part again? They could do it. So it was where people get stuck in writing processes is writing processes or taking time out of their day to go write a process. So instead, if you can just turn on a recorder while you're doing it and just speak out loud, now I'm clicking here, here's why. It takes a teeny bit longer, but you're doing the work, right? So you're already doing the work. And then having the tools to make the process for you. I have had my team be able to follow these things without errors, things that would scare me before. That I'm like, so one thing that recently happened is my daughter started college. I'm officially empty nested, and she realized something in her first semester. It's really expensive, and when you go shopping and you don't have a job, you run out of money. So I was like, want to earn some money from mama? So she is not an accountant, but I wanted some help on sending some invoices and some accounting. And I was a little nervous because my son had done it before when he was in college. And I was like, okay, because, at least keep teaching them something that they could use in their future, understanding how money flows and that kind of thing. Well, this is my non-accountant daughter. She wants to be an elementary school teacher. By doing this Loom video and showing her the step by step, she has had no issues. It still makes me nervous. I'm like, okay, send that invoice. And it's like, oh my gosh, she did it and I got paid. Woo, this is awesome. I didn't have to do it. This worked. So that's one of my tips. You can also ask AI, whatever your favorite AI is, say, hey, I do this transaction. What steps or processes? And you can verbally use things. I love doing this in chat now. There's a little microphone. You can just say, hey, this is what I do. This is how I do it. What would you recommend are the steps and the processes I do? Is there anything I could do better? So use tools. There are so many great tools out there. Okay, let's move on to the next bottleneck. Number 4, weak accountability. No one is holding you to your own standards, and that's what is really hard, right? Self accountability is even harder than holding your team accountable if you have a team. Your team could even be like I was just saying, your own family, holding them to their chores, whatever it is, whether it's having them do your accounting or clean their room, right? It's hard enough to hold other people accountable, but the worst is holding us. So we are often great at client, for you guys especially, great at client accountability because there are certain things you need done in a certain period of time. So I know it's in you. I know you can do a good job, but doing it to ourselves, we're so resistant to our own self accountability. And one of the things that can help is having structure. So without structure, even for ourselves, our own consistency starts to fade. As you probably can get a sense from what I'm sharing, we are our own worst bosses. I am the worst boss to myself. I'm much nicer, much kinder, and I don't let people get away with things that really hurt with my team or my clients. But again, if you can relate to number four, if you have trouble with self accountability or even team accountability, because that is hard too, go ahead and write four and yes in the chat that yes, you've seen this mirror and you're not pleased with, like, are you kidding? How do we miss this again? So what's the solution? One action to build that accountability is track one weekly metric. So focusing just on one number and one number only. Whatever is that number that's going to make the cash register ring is the one I recommend. So that might be conversations, the number of conversations, the number of follow-ups, the number of appointments. You know, or you can find out again, ask ChatGPT, hey, what's one number that would make a whole difference in my world to focus on? And then make it visible, having you see it. So I have a few more numbers, but you start with one. It's hard to see right here, but I have like tally marks on Monday. How many times did I do a sales reach out on Tuesday? And I just do tally marks so I can visually see the metrics that I'm looking at the end of the week. I add it up. Is it more or less than my goal? So you being able to visibly see your own number and your own progress really does help change that behavior. And like I said, make it easy. I like tally marks on a post-it or on my post is very large because my numbers now are a few more, but it's still, I'm focused on a few things that move the needle and making something even outside of it. It doesn't have to be a formal data entry system. It can just be as simple as tally marks. And then anyone on your team, if you have a team, have them have a metric they can track weekly so that you know, again, same with them, what's their main activity that ultimately, whether it's directly or indirectly, helps make the cash register ring. What do they need to be doing? And they report that. You can see with that one number, you know they're working on what matters most. All right, let's move on to our bottleneck number 5. This is reputation pressure, and this is so big, is that everything relies on who we are, and where we are afraid of making a mistake is where we get hesitations. And so reputation is everything in real estate. It is about how that one person experienced you and how they're going to share about you. So fear of having our reputation be flawed in any way, it sometimes has this play small or overworking. Does this sound familiar? Like, oh my gosh, I have to really do this really, really right. Or I'm like, oh, I'm afraid to put myself out there because I don't want to mess it up or look bad. So again, think of this as not about perfection. That's not our goal. It's about consistency. So if you feel like you're not fully playing full out, maybe you're holding back or you're working really, really hard because you don't want to ruin your reputation, go ahead and put number 5 in the chat. And yes, I do resemble that remark because it's fear. It's fear that holds us back. What if I fail? What if I make a fool of myself? What if I succeed and I have to keep doing it again and I got more and I can't handle it? So it's the fear that is holding us back. So what can we do to fix it? Well, I invite you to define what are your 3 non-negotiables. Write them down. And so this is with your clients. What can your clients always expect from you? Maybe it's response time, maybe it's communication, type of communication, maybe it's follow-up. So figure out what those 3 non-negotiables are for you, and then make sure you prioritize that these 3 happen with each client. So you know my reputation, if I can at least get these things, I feel good about it. And then what you want to do is make sure you not only prioritize it, but make sure they don't drop. You focus on building consistency and speed in which you can make that happen through efficiencies. You're going to be able to know that you feel more confident that I can trust us. I can trust to be consistent and at least these three things are going to happen. And again, that consistency is way better than being perfect everywhere. We want to just make sure these three things I know I need to hit. So let's talk about what do these bottlenecks have in common? We talked about it from the beginning, structural. So they are operational, not personal. It's not you. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with having these bottlenecks. It's that oftentimes the business outgrew the current structure that you have. But the good news you can also hear in all of this that it is solvable. Thank goodness, right? We want to make sure we're not stuck here forever. So, with that, as I mentioned, you don't have to remember all of these things. I'm looking for my chat real quick. I think I have it right here. This is the link to this guide that I gave you with everything that we talked about. It's how you can start fixing those bottlenecks that is holding the business back. So each bottleneck, what you might experience, what are some of those actions and things to remember. So with every bottleneck, you have that at your fingertips. So you should be able to copy it or download it for your own now that you have that. And that is my, if you will, gift to you. When you look at it, and as we talked about it today, you don't need to overhaul the entire business to make progress. In fact, I don't recommend it. These are why we talked about one little action you can take. What you need to remove is the friction that is quietly, slowly taking you away from doing your best work and having that ability to achieve those outcomes for your life and for your clients. So ideally with this guide, you'll be able to take some steps, some easy practical steps that we talked about for each of these 5 bottlenecks and be able to start create that clarity, that consistency, and that momentum right away. So here's for me what's really a sad reality and something I fight against every day is that the odds are stacked against us as small businesses. 80% of small businesses fail within 20 years. And those small businesses are like yours and mine. And that's what really breaks my heart because it isn't about the business. It's about the clients that they serve who are hurt when the business closes, the team members that are part of that work that are hurt when the business closes, and the families that are counting on them. And then also, we know when a small business does well, it's not just about the owner doing well. When we do well, our communities thrive because we're using more services of other businesses. We are hiring more people, but also, you've seen it in the communities when small businesses are doing well, they pour back into the communities. If you look at a soccer field, it's not big names like Home Depot on the signs of the sponsors, it's small businesses. So the more small businesses that fail, the more families and communities suffer. And that's the part that breaks my heart. So if you have any of these bottlenecks that we had mentioned, these are just chipping away a little bit at that business being successful for the long term. So I encourage you and invite you to take action. A bottleneck, again, is that system that a part of your business is failing. And really what it's doing is it's failing you. And that's the part that I fight against every day. This is the odds that I want to beat with everyone I work with. So if you do have a team and you want to trust your team to run your business well, even when you're out of the office, I invite you to consider being able to meet with me. I opened up my calendar to do a complimentary coaching call. Maybe it's one of these business breakthroughs you want to have a conversation with me, like, Jen, help me work through this. I like to think of them as little quick solve sessions. So there's no pitch policy, essentially. If this is something you just want some help with thinking through any of these, how can I put them into place? then I open it up for you to consider, gosh, I'd love to have a time to just what I call a free working session, a chance for us to work through some of these things to help you put them in place. With that, I'm going to open it up to Q&A, and I'll put the link to my little session if you do want to take me up on that. Whoops, push the wrong button. I'll put that link to my session if that's something you'd like. I would love to just talk with you through how can I start to put these things in place or get me to be able to trust my team and my systems more. I'd be happy to do that for you. Any questions, comments, concerns?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So when you go in to do the fractional work with a business, how does that look? How many hours? Is there a minimum? Like, what different things do you do in the business? Is it everything? What's your specialties? So,
Yeah. So it's a great question. There in my community, I have, I think last count, 668 fractional operations people. So our overall is what I like to say is there's a right fit for you. And part of why I say that is that it depends on what you're structurally struggling with. Right. So for me, I'm really great when you have a team. Some people are really great at the processes or like, hey, we don't have control over your technology. So it depends on really what are those bottlenecks? What are those things that are in your way? And then we create a custom solution for that. To answer your more direct question, I've got clients that based on their budget and their timing, we meet for 1 hour a month just to help them have someone to be beside them as like the president of your company. You're the CEO. Gosh, what do I do here? How do I make a decision? All the way to when you have a larger group or a larger team, then we're going to be coming in there a couple hours a week to be able to put that into place. But it's truly customized to what does you and the business need to move forward. We also don't like to put, like I say, rocket fuel or jet fuel into a Jetta, just a jet. So we want to make sure that we're not putting too much business power into a small business. So that's part of why it needs to be measured and appropriate for what you need. So we create together with our clients what that can look like. Does that help answer it, Heather?
yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking so like if you've already got systems in place, but you feel like maybe they're outdated or they're taking too much time or they're semi-broken, you could come in and evaluate them,
Yep.
sit in on sessions type thing, and then come
Yep.
back with feedback on how you would change it or
Exactly.
simplify it or make,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
Some of the other things too are as we mentioned, direction.
Mm-hmm.
What I've worked with folks, and Heather, I know you were part of it too, where it's like, let's just check in every quarter and see what's the focus for the next quarter. What do we accomplish? And what are we going to do next? So we have some clients who are just like, gosh, help me figure out my next quarter so I can focus on the right things. Thanks, Kim.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. I like to say that you are experts in what you do, not experts in how to run a business.
yeah,
And that's the hard part, right? That's part of that expert trap. We love to do the parts we love to do and are great at, but the parts that slow us down and get in our way are how to run a business. And
yeah,
that's where we geek out. That's where our expertise is.
yeah.
Any other questions?
Do you have any questions, Kat? Do you have any questions for us?
Yeah, I'm thinking, trying to think. Well, I'm excited to do the Loom thing because I think I have the upgraded version. So,
Nice.
and it is easier to talk through something and
Mhm.
create an SOP than to just sit down. Like that's my worst possible nightmare is like having to sit down and document a process because I feel like it's the most boring thing in the world. So knowing that I can just get on a camera and like walk through it and then turn it into an SOP, I think that'll be really helpful. Um, I don't know. I guess my question is like, so if you do come in as like a fractional COO and you're helping someone build their processes, do you have resources? Like I know one of the things that we're looking at in our business is how we can utilize more technology to streamline some of the processes. And right now
Yeah.
that technology is changing so rapidly with AI. So like, do you have people on your team or resources that you would connect us if we were a client with to where we could because my biggest pain point right now is like doing all the research to find the right tool that
Yes.
does all the things that I want it to do. So do you have people on your team that kind of like are experts in that can kind of help guide someone like
Yeah.
us towards finding the right fit?
Absolutely. That's part of that decision making that we get stuck on. What do I do? What should I do? What should it consider? And part of what I think about with AI and technology, whether it is AI or a more traditional technology, even a simple CRM, think of them as one of your team members. So even if it's just you and your technology, but they are a team member. So you need to be very clear on what is this job, even if it's technology, what are the outcomes? What do I need it to do to take my work and make it easier or faster, right? And so even if you start to use some of that filter, I think it's going to help you realize maybe I already have technology that's doing that. That's one of the things I like to look at is what do I already have and can they do more? So you just said, Kat, I had Loom. I had no idea that I even have, you probably even have the right subscription, and now it can do that. So one of the things that is really powerful these days is go back and figure out the subscriptions and the tools you already have. What are they adding? Because now they're getting the pressure of being more fast, having more AI type things, being able to do things quicker, because otherwise someone else is going to make something faster. So I'm always a proponent of first being clear, whether it's a human or it's a machine. What do I need your job to be? What outcomes do you need to produce for me? And then question and see, just like you would interview a human, interview the technology you have or the one that you're thinking of getting to see, will it do that job? Will it make my life better? Or are you just going to be causing me more problems? Does that help?
Yeah. I mean, I definitely don't want to. I feel like that's another challenge is like then you sign up for all these things and you're like, now I'm not even using half of them because I never took the time to figure out how to use them and how
Right.
to get the most out of them.
Yeah. One thing that I do, I'll give you this other tip because while we are not tech people, we are operations people. So we're looking at what are the teams, the processes, the tech is part of it, the data, what is going to make us run well as a well-oiled machine. One of the things I do when I'm considering tech is that I go into ChatGPT and I say, I need a software or something that does this. Here's what I already have. What can I do to make this work and what would you compare it to? So I make it do the job for me versus going on because before AI, I would go and see that the comparison that other tech ads would do or that the tech itself would have a page of like compare our software to our competitors, right? We have these checkboxes, they don't. I'm using AI for it because it's somewhat impartial, right? But it also, I can tell it, this is what I needed to do. I am this kind of professional. Do this, please. And it has helped me. And then when I pick something, I say, okay, now tell me how to implement it quickly so I could start using it. What do I need to do? What do I know? So I just stay in that same chat once it helps me pick something, and I've used that. So one of my AI tools that I just signed up for recently by using this system was Fixer AI, so it helps automatically manage my inbox because I didn't need to have my executive assistant do some things that technology can do. And I was able to get onto it and use it almost right away because it told me implementation guide. Like it gave me the how me, Jen, needs to use this tool that it recommended quickly and get it used quickly. Because like you said, you're like, cool. Okay, now what am I going to do to put it into place? So that really helped me get a shortcut of what I wanted and how to put it into place quickly.
So that's an inbox management tool. It's
Yeah,
called System AI.
it's called Fixer, Fyxer, and it takes a little bit to set up, but like I said, there's probably other. I signed up for this, I want to say in July of last year, so there might even be better stuff by now. I mean, things are going so crazy. I would probably do the same thing again to figure out what's the best thing. But that allowed, even though I have an executive assistant, she and I can get through it quicker because it helps filter things. It starts to draft some of the responses. So we'll look at things that she doesn't know what to do with. And the first thing we do when we look together is like, well, let's see what Fixer said. I'm like, that's pretty damn good. Just get rid of that sentence or change this word. So even together when we're replying to things she's learning, Fixer's learning too and getting better and better as well. So there's still a human element.
Yeah,
Don't.
no, it's awesome. My email is a massive problem for me. And I'm not that person that can have like 50,000 emails and feel good about it. So
You're not like me.
no,
Yeah.
I go crazy if
Oh,
I'm
I do
like, oh my
use
God,
I
I have 200 emails because I will just miss and lose. I'll be like, oh shit, I didn't email that person back or call my emails, my voicemails go to my email too. So then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I forgot to call somebody 3 days ago because of my other 300 emails. So no, I can't do that. I get crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I'll
It's
try it
I
out.
know I get lost in the sauce too, and I'm like beating myself up about it. It's not
Yeah.
good.
And it's so consuming if it's one of those like it's like my OCD thing of the email. And then I waste so much time on email, I don't have time to do the things I need to be doing. So I'm gonna look into this. Thank you.
I do like using the AI like response because I use that to now respond and it helps me respond quicker to people.
Yeah.
Even especially if it's just a quick follow-up kind of thing. But okay, I don't know. Do you guys have any other questions? Darby, Janine,
Ed, good to see you, Ed.
Audrey.
Audrey. Oh, yep, she went. Do you help if someone is looking to hire someone or you know they need to? Do you guys have resources to help them do that?
Hire other team members.
Like
We
admin, administration? Yeah.
we do a lot of referrals to people we've tr t tested
Mhm.
and trusted. We also can help. I've got someone who is one of my clients who is looking to create a whole new position, a client and team care associate, essentially someone to take care of the clients and someone like when there's bigger problems and the team. And yesterday we used AI together to help refine and create a job description because I've got some tools where I've trained it to already think the way I want it to think. And so we put it in there and so now she's got a much better way to see what that job could be. We created it together. So it's not so much that it could be that like we help you define a new position and we've been talking for a while to figure out what it is, or it can be, for example, where I get my executive assistant. I found out from other fractional COs because I've tried different people and I'm like, oh no, don't use this agency, use this agency. So that's the other thing is that we have pretty high standards for who's going to be effective and who we want to refer. So even if I don't know, I can ask my community and they'll be like, yeah, these people are great. These people are not.
Yeah. Okay.
So we can shortcut some of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Audrey, it was good to see you again too.
She's like, where's my mute button?
I know, right? She's like, my mute's not working. Well, thank you guys so much for allowing me to share. Obviously,
Thank you.
you can tell I get passionate about helping unlock some of the things where you're stuck, and hopefully, you were able to take at least one thing today to
Yes.
be able to loosen it up.
Screen keeps disappearing on me. So I'm like, I'm here, I'm here. Nice to see everyone. Jen, I booked a session with you, so
Oh, great. Thank you. I look
we
forward to
will
helping
talk
you
soon.
think through
Kat and I
things.
will be booking one too. Kat, I've got the link for us.
I think we could use some help. I'm a free spirit through and through. So like anything structure is like the death of me. So I definitely, but now I'm in a role where I'm trying to create more structure in our business and it's just like not my forte. So um
I free
I'm more like
spirit is my number one.
yeah,
So
me too. So I'm more like, and I think a lot of agents are
Art.
that way, where it's like they're more creative, relational, like, they're people, but they're not necessarily let's sit behind a desk and create a process type of people. So I think leaning into someone who is very structured, that can provide some guidance when you're not naturally structured is a good thing. Because it would probably take me 5 times as long to do it on my own as it would by leaning into someone like you who actually likes this stuff.
Yes. I,
Someone like you who actually likes this stuff.
yep.
I like dealing with people and clients, but I don't like back end systems. Like, how do we make this super efficient and how do we train a team so that this can run without you? That's not my, I know Heather's more wired that way, but I'm definitely more,
Yeah.
The goal
Yeah.
is for a system to not be felt. is that it frees you up to do what you're best at. And it takes a little bit of time to experience that, to lean into it. But that's the goal, is that the system, team, technology, whatever it is, frees you up for more of what you are best at.
I love that.
Yes.
I think we could all use more time. So
Yeah.
hopefully you'll help us with that.
Yeah, I don't have quite the magic wand to give you time because, I would just keep on giving myself some juice. But absolutely, the thing that is exciting though to me, and I'm sure to you too, is that we can impact more lives, more families.
Yep.
That's what
And
you
with
guys do.
systems, it buys you time. That's what
Yeah.
I think. And freedom,
Structure
time and
equals
freedom
freedom.
both. So
Yep. Structure equals freedom.
yeah,
I have
exactly.
that
For
written
you
down
free
in front of me.
spirits, you need the structure so you can be free.
So I get
So
that tattooed on me. Structure is
Structure equals freedom.
Yes.
and I create
Yeah.
structure because I'm an explorer, so I want to go travel. So I got to have the structure so that everything works really, like, it probably works better when I'm not around messing things up, honestly.
Brooke is
Absolutely.
like,
Yeah. Brooke is like, yep, when she's gone, it's awesome. So,
Thank you so much,
Jen.
ladies and gentlemen. It was so
Yeah.
nice to be with you.
Thank you. You're
Thank
amazing.
you.
And we will
thank
get a
you.
call scheduled.
You're awesome at what you do.
Oh, thank you.
You are.
I appreciate it. Thank you,
Okay.
ladies and
Thanks, Alex.
gentlemen. Take
Thank
care.
you.
Rest of your week, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.